The longer the sales meeting goes, the lower the chances of you closing the deal. But the problem is we also need to identify when we go to pitch that most of the time I don't need to sell anything. I don't know about you, I love going to the movies. Love. I still, to this day, my dad's 81. Whenever we have a new Bond, we go to see James Bond. I love these movies. And we sit there, popcorn and a soda drink, and we're watching, and before that, the trailers come on. No matter what trailer it is, I'm like, I'm in. When that movie comes out, I have to go and see it. You see what's interesting? I did not commit, I did not give them money, I did not promise them a single thing. All I said is, this is interesting. By the way, they didn't show me the whole movie, they showed me a trailer. The trailer is roughly 3 minutes, an art form in itself. And the idea is I do not need to sell you anything. All I need is to open a door for you to say, I'm interested, I want to know more.
Do you want this? Do you need it? I think that you should have it.
Please, all of you, just for a second, stand up.
You should have it.
You get 1 minute for each person to introduce yourselves.
Okay.
Please feel free to sit down where you sat before. Amazing. I'm going to tell you a short story, but before, I don't know if you noticed that, but most probably the person you've spent the most amount of time in your life is yourself. Yet when I ask people to introduce themselves, they get scared. Not everybody knows exactly what to say or how to pitch. I want to connect that to how we do brands. I want to talk to you about a little bit about why I believe we're building brands the wrong way. How's that connected to emotions, a bit to religion, and what can you guys do if you want to change everything you thought was brand, sales, marketing, or customer journey. Try and think for a second how you introduced yourselves. I assume most of you started with that checklist, right? So, father, mother, the business, what you do in your position, right? We discussed earlier, the first thing we ask people is, what do you do? How many of you started with something that is emotional? How many people usually start with something that's emotional? You see, I wrote the book, Fuck the Slides, simply because I couldn't see any more bad presentations. And in 2017, I've owned a marketing agency for a while. I was invited to help startup companies pitch. But more than that, it was about how they can go to market better. The problem was I couldn't understand a single word. There were all the buzzwords, all the information, all the data, nothing made sense. And the idea is, can we fix that? But seeing that I came to do marketing, I didn't know where to start. And I said, can you please explain to me in plain English, what do you actually do? In one sentence. And guess what? Most of them couldn't. So I said, okay, I think we have a problem. And I think we can fix it. And it took me about 2 or 3 years to perfect a concept of how can you tell a short, compelling story in about 3 minutes without using your slides. But all we need to understand is how the human mind works and why I think most of us are telling stories at work the wrong way. When we introduce ourselves, most of us start with the data. But in fact, most people do not. That's not how we communicate. How do you feel at the moment?
Good.
Good. How was your day today?
It was all right.
All right. Yours?
All right.
All right. I smile, he smiles. It's amazing. Huh? By the way, this is a universal thing all over the world. When a baby is born, we have the same 6 facial recognition expressions. They believe there are a bit more now. When I travel the world, and I've done these workshops in about 40 countries, no matter where I go, same. I smile. At a certain point, he has to smile. What is interesting, though, the cultural differences, that can be taught every place I go. I was in the Philippines last year. They will explain. So I want to share with you the 4 different ways that you can control a story. If the first thing, and actually the currency we trade is not the data we tell, it is the emotion we want to say. So if the first thing is an emotion, if I can tell you a short story and I can tell you, you won't believe what happened last night, Or I can tell you, you won't believe what happened to me last night. It is not the same story. Same words, not the same story. When we talk, only 7% is what I'm actually saying right now. I can actually probably bullshit you for the next 5 minutes, but if I sound really excited about what I'm going to say, you will listen, even though I don't really need to say anything. So 7% is what we actually said. 93 is what we call the nonverbal communication. The problem is when we go pitching, the startups is a good example. One of the problems we have is they improvise. Fuck the Slide started when I met companies and I told them, I saw the slides, I understand the information, I just don't get what you do. If we take out the presentation, what are you left with? And most of them just improvise. So they get 3 minutes to pitch, but they're improvising. And the idea is what happens if we don't improvise. What happens if you can control every single word you say, thus controlling the emotional aspects. So I don't need to sell everything. I only need to be able to control which emotion every paragraph of that story has. And the second thing, which is interesting, is most of us, we were talking about the cold. And when you said Jamaica, I can probably understand or imagine Jamaica. I've never been. If I'll tell you how a beach would feel like right now, it's a beautiful day outside, sand, you're having a margarita, everyone's chilling, you can imagine it. So the second thing is I don't need to tell you everything, I just need to tell you enough for you to be able to complete the way you think. The third thing, I want to tell you a short story. I'll ask you a lot of questions, there are a lot of details, please listen carefully. Are you guys ready? They're always so quiet. Okay, just asking. Okay. A man walks into a bar. I'll repeat the story. A man walks into a bar. What type of a bar?
Don't know.
Okay. What type of a bar do you think it is?
It could be a metal bar.
A metal bar. Thank you, that was easy. What is he wearing?
He's wearing a t-shirt and jeans.
T-shirt and jeans. So it's barefoot in a metal bar. Who's he meeting?
His friend.
His friend. What are they going to talk about?
Politics.
Politics. What are they drinking? It's going to be a long night. Okay, a beer. Sweet. Note, I said a man walks into a bar. Everybody can fill in the gaps with different reasons. We once worked with a startup company that saves or helps airlines lose less luggage. I don't know about you, I don't own an airline, I don't care. But when we went into the room to introduce 60 investors are sitting in the same room, what we can all imagine is how it feels standing in front of that belt, hoping that they didn't lose my luggage. So I can put you in a specific place, Jamaica, in front of a belt, I can make you realize or think different things. And if I can take you to that place, and right now I can probably assume that you all know how that belt feels, right? And I'm standing there and I'm waiting. It's my luggage. No, not my vacation to Jamaica is ruined, not my luggage. That means that we can control not just the emotion, but where we place people. So people who have experience, they can fill in the gaps. And only lastly, we use your data, which is interesting because data is basically, data is kind of like the seasoning. If I want to sell you something, I don't need to tell you everything. All I need to do is give you enough for you to fill in the gaps, say you want more, and the data needs to convince me that I'm at the right place. Yes?
So in this example with the luggage and the pitch, it would be something like imagining you've lost your luggage and then sprinkling in a statistic saying passengers that lose their luggage are 60% less likely to use this airline.
And basically,
Within the story.
true. And basically how we knew that we hit the mark was 60 investors are smiling and nodding because they all know how it feels, because we know they travel a lot. So sometimes the story isn't just about what I'm doing, it's what I want them to feel in that space at that moment, that allows us to control the story. Oftentimes when we meet a company or we meet someone, we say, how long do you need to explain? And they would say, we need at least 15 or 20 minutes. And we say, great, you get 3 minutes. The reason is because 3 minutes is a lot of time. When we tell a startup you get 3 minutes, oftentimes they will say it's not enough. And I say, that's great. I just got you a newspaper to write an article about you. Is that okay? Full page. It's about 500-page article. And they say, that's amazing. In English, 400 to 500 words is about 3 minutes. The problem is we don't know what we want to say, thus we think it's not enough. I assume you know this from sales, that the longer the sales go, the longer the sales meeting goes, the lower the chances of you closing the deal. For example, by the way, we use the blurb, right? You've heard the phrase. People say, can you send me a blurb, oftentimes in tech. It's interesting, most people do not know what to do with it. They send a one-pager, they send slides, no one knows what to do with it. It is a short description connected to a creative work. There's a phrase that was coined in just a moment before the beginning of the 20th century. And it's short. And we teach people how to do it in 70 words or less. And the next time you meet someone, what if you had a 70-word blurb about who you are and what you do? So luckily, I know we don't have pen and paper. I have a feeling all of you have a phone. Open your notes. We'll do 2 minutes. Try and write 2 or 3 sentences on how you'd introduce yourselves. And my ask is try and be a bit interesting. Not a lot, just a bit. Is that okay?
Are you gonna buy it? Oh, you should try it. Try it. Try it. Try it. Try it. Try it. I think that you should have it.
My next book is called The Business Catcher. I'm working on why we're building brands the wrong way. And my belief that we are not building brands like characters, like in movies. Now, almost all of you have a favorite book, a show, or a movie you like. But if those characters, the main characters, were erratic and would change their opinion every 2 or 5 pages, you'd opt out. Yet we do that today with our brands, whether you are the brand or your company. And the question was, why are we not consistent? So a logo or any graphic is great, but that's like you and I dressing differently, but behaving the same way. Nothing really changed. So over the course of the last 2.5 years, I've been working with companies and brands on how to implement storytelling techniques to create better stories by using better character attributes. A quick example would be that we just doubled a company's revenue just by changing what they said on the customer journey. They do designs for marketeers to get better ads, more converting ads. And they're doing good. The interesting thing is everything they did was not connected. And we said, let's create a whole customer journey. What do we say, in which stage? But more than that, how do we create consistency in the way we speak? If you work somewhere, by the way, go and ask for the brand book. If there are explanations about how you should behave, how the brand behaves, what are the words you like, the words you don't like, please do me a favor, call me, maybe they'll be in the next book. If you have a company, please make sure you start thinking like a character in a book. In 2012, I was about to finish. I had like 50 pages left probably in my first novel. You see, I love drinking, so I always say that it's cheaper to own the bar. And I own the bar, and I've known everyone for years, and I was writing a novel about the nightlife. And someone said, are you writing? Are you finishing? I said, I can't, I'm stuck. And they said, wait, what do you mean you're stuck? You have writer's block? And I said, no, there's no such thing as a writer's block. The main character and I were in an argument. I want to do something, but the character wants to do something completely different. And that's why I suggest that people start looking at the brands. If you and I start a company together tomorrow, right? And let's say I want to do it in a warm country, but we have some issues and you and I agree on things. And one time I'll go along with you because you're from this area and the brand is here and I don't know enough. And the second time you will allow me to do what I believe is the right thing and do the marketing a certain way. That means we did not argue. We are in agreement. The only one that we didn't ask is the brand. So sometimes, even when we think we're in agreement, we are creating inconsistency. But if we write and measure, it becomes easier. Are we doing the right thing for the brand? And did we do, does it coincide with what we did before? Will it do it the same the next time? So if you guys look at a brand, for example, every time you do something, I'm inviting you to look and say, is this aligning with what we had yesterday? Which words are we using? So if I like cursing, and I've done that, I used to get kicked out in high school because I would curse in class. That made me funny, and I liked it. And that's the way I behave. That's who I am as a brand. So today in my workshops, I also curse. Except the Philippines and Singapore, they had a lot of problems with that. We agreed before. But again, cultural difference. But I have today the option of writing the words I like, the words I don't like. How I want to sound, how I want to behave, how I want to be perceived, and how do I create that consistency. If you choose the words, for example, if you do not talk about price, you're already changing everything? You're already changing? Okay. If we look for a second and we decide that we don't want to talk about price because what we're selling is so much bigger. By the way, $40 a month is not even relevant to mention. It's nothing. It's like free. But what if we do is what's the message? And what are the words that are connected? So these need to talk. Your marketing. So if I know who I am and I know what I need to say, I want to say it all day long to as many people as I can. By the way, some of you might have heard the concept of an ICP, or ideal client persona, or customer persona. In the next book, I also explain about the IMP, the ideal marketing persona. I want every person on the planet to know who I am and what I do. I want some people that might be relevant to know who I am and recommend. And I want the people who need me today to know who I am and call me. So we'll have like 3 circles. What we often do, and we have that with an asset management company now based in Chicago, where nobody knows who they are. So we presume we need to talk to the people who have millions that might want to give us the money. But we decided to go with a different tactic and tell everyone in that area who we are. More than that, we just want to tell you who we are. If you think you're relevant, you can apply here. Where everybody else says, please come to us. The reason is they need very few clients. 1 a quarter is enough. I don't need everyone, I need the right people. So if your marketing works well, and again, every time we do content, we also make sure it's aligned. And that makes life easy. And you and I were talking earlier. If I have a good product, and you think you have a good product market fit, I need to tell everyone what I do, and every time do the iteration of fixing. This is the language we use. This is what we want to present to the world. This is what they should buy and how they should buy it, and going down to marketing. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You probably know this, but as marketing is changing and the algorithms are changing, we are now doing a lot more content with our clients, hoping to hit once. That's enough. Especially in the US, you can do a lot of very local ads and stuff, so that's even easier if you have that. When they come, I want to make sure I sound like the brand. I give them the feeling of the brand. By the way, Red Bull does that amazingly well, especially when you go to an event and you go to the parties and you go to other places. The sales starts for us when we check if the client is the right fit. Again, going back to the trailer pitch. I'll give you a short example. We're working with some complex AI solution for military grade. They work with governors here and stuff like that. One of the things we wanted is to show certainty. If you want, check an amazing book. I really love it. I always recommend it, by Morgan Housel. It's called Same as Ever. Every person on the planet wants this one thing. Every person on the planet cannot get it. Certainty. So with that company, we decided that everything we do, because they help critical decision makers make decisions for your utility companies that will have an impact in 5 years, but they need to decide them now. So what we've done is, when they create the agenda, everything is about certainty. I don't know when was the last time you had a meeting, an online meeting especially, and you get the agenda beforehand. You guys do that here? Great. So we start the agenda with a 5-minute small talk. It's in the agenda. We then explain what's going to happen, some clarifying question, and then we will need 4 minutes to explain what we do. Mind you, most people think it's a bit of a strange thing to say, we're going to pitch you our company in 4 minutes. When that happens, people are shocked. You know what's the thing that people love the most? They go on the call and say, I love the fact that you added small talk for 5 minutes. That's what they remember. But when we pitch for 4 minutes and when we wrap up the call exactly at the 25-minute mark and say what's going to happen next, people feel subconsciously very comfortable. Because they said something, they meant it, they stuck to it, it's relevant, it's interesting. We already start creating here the whole process of how the sale is going to look like if they are the right fit. Again, I'm talking about a very specific company. We can talk about examples later. And the last thing would be, and please, if you have a company and you do not do this, and I told you this today, if you guys do not have an amazing customer journey, you are losing money today. If you can only fix one thing, is your customer journey. Creating an outline of when they came, what happens, what's next, what happens if they sign or they don't sign. By the way, we have a client that said, we're getting great leads. Some of them, they're not the right fit. Sometimes they're not the right fit today. We created a separate customer journey for clients who said no. And we get them back within 7 months. Usually, when you get a no, that's a no. What if it's just a different path in the customer journey? But then how do you talk to them without being aggressive, without being over salesy? That goes back to how do you usually talk? What do you usually offer? We're now doing this with companies that have 500 million, with companies who've just raised millions, with small companies, and all of them will become some chapter in the book. The reason why I'm showing you all of this, because most people will start with what we always believe to be right. We go to a branding company, we design, we do a lot of things, and we start. And I'm saying, what if we started with the smallest thing and ask you 2 words about this, 2 words about that, 30 seconds. What if we go back to the customer journey and say, let's pick one small thing and fix that? What is the smallest thing in your business, in your line of work, or whatever that you might want to fix? So here's my ask. 1 minute, talk to the person next to you. Tell them one thing you want to improve or you want to fix in your business or in your line of work. What do you do? Is that okay? One thing you would like to improve.
Are you gonna buy it? Oh, you should try it. Try it. Try it. Try it. Try it. Try it. I think that you should have it.
At the end, if you decide or you take one thing is small, start very, very small. You can always improve something. The way we improve it is we write what we want to do, how we can achieve it, and then where do we implement. When I started this idea of Fuck the Slide, it was like a big thing. It is now a part of what I teach within sales. We do it on a full day or 2-day workshop, so it's very, very different. If you can change one thing, what would it be? By when? What do you need? Who can help you? And start doing it. We're seeing businesses double in 2 to 4, 5 months just because they're putting the structure, and it's the language. It is not the process. It is the language we use that helps us scale. If it's okay with you, because we're a small group, I want to try something. I'm a member of EO, the Entrepreneurs Organization. When we finish every event, we do 2 things. One thing you're taking away that you can try and implement, and 1 word about how you feel this moment.
I'm taking away that I need to work a lot more on my personal brand and being able to articulate that clearly. And my feelings at the moment is happy.
You should.
I'm gonna go with my word first, energized. I had no coffee, however, I could probably run around the block like 4 times right now. I am gonna work on articulating these points with my board. I think I do it, I think I need to do it more. And kind of role play with them and have them articulate what is this business, because we need to be on the ground telling everyone that we meet about it. So their pitch to Long Island needs to be as buttoned up as mine. So that's what I'm gonna take away.
Hello, everyone. In my line of work, it's important for me to understand a client's needs in 30 minutes or less. So I think what I took away from your presentation today is that if I can provide the client with, let the client know everything that I offer within 4 minutes, I can take the remaining time to truly understand their needs and provide a solution for them. The word, I would say, is positive.
Yeah, for me, I think my biggest takeaway here is pretty much when you talked about the whole aspect about consistency, and then kind of parlaying that to, not having necessarily needing all the clients. You're not really looking to necessarily like boil the ocean. You're looking for that one that resonates with you. I think that is my key takeaway that I think, I really want to focus as far as like customer perspective. Don't need to go out everywhere and do everything. It's just focus on the things that really resonate, that's most consistent with you, and those people that resonate with you will then follow, much like how you kind of gave that example with Red Bull. So, I feel like, with all of that, my key takeaway, the way that makes me feel right now is more invigorated, I guess, is the best way to kind of think about it.
Thank you.
So I think my key takeaway is, because I'm in a business with a business partner, I like when you spoke about the idea that the business needs to have a personality that is not just the sum of our opinions, which is kind of how we've operated up until this point. And the struggle I think I have is, and that we've always had, is how do I export what I do in such a way that the company can actually repeat it without me? And I think that has eluded me still. And so I think that I'm pensive when it comes to
Thank you.
I'm Justin Abrams. This is Mike Rispoli. That there is Matthew Ramos. We make up the local Long Island Cause of a Kind team. What Cause of a Kind does is we build software and websites for you. So if you know anybody or you yourself want to build something cool, now you know somebody that can help you.